Good evening. I would like to call to order the Gateway School Board of Directors study session meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 9th, 2019. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Bonnie.
Mr. Bova.
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Here.
Mr. Gottman.
Here.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Here.
Mr. Lapsevich. Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mrs. Warning.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Did we have anybody sign up to speak on agenda items this evening?
No one signed up, but I believe there's someone in the audience that would like to speak.
Okay. Someone would like to speak on agenda items? I would invite you up to the microphone.
Scott Gallagher.
Please state your name, address for the record.
Name's Scott Gallagher, 700 Greenleaf Drive in Rowville. I wanted to speak tonight not as representative of the ministerium, not representing Garden City Methodist Church, but as a parent of two Gateway students who are in the band, marching band, and winter perk. On the agenda tonight in the resolutions presented by board members, section G2 is the approval for assisting Gateway band boosters in purchasing a new trailer. The assistance is at 50% of the $17,588.24, which is $8,794.12. The purchase of this trailer is because the current trailer has long outlived its lifespan. I'd like to ask the board to consider amending that resolution to purchase the trailer for the Gateway band. And I have a number of reasons for asking that. Our band travels to every football game, competes at numerous competitions as a marching band as the winter ensemble. Each of these, they need that trailer in order to do that. All of these events, the band is award-winning and they represent Gateway incredibly well. Each parent of the marching band members and Winter Park are required to contribute their fair share. The fair share for this coming season is $550 per child. In some cases, to offset that expense, you can work at Heinz Field or PNC Park. You can also try and do some fundraisers. However, if you can't work the extra hours or sell tickets, etc., then you're burdened with that cost. So if you have multiple children, it is quite a sum of money. The boosters have a plan to raise funds for the other portion of the trailer, but if those plans fall through or don't work out in a way in which they were intended, then the parents will end up bearing that cost in fair share payments either later this year or next year. When my oldest daughter first started in the band, the fair share was $250 plus some mandatory fundraisers. There are no longer any mandatory fundraisers, so it's $550 per child. Also, this trailer carries tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, most of which is the property of Gateway School District. So I ask, in light of the other areas where there are some cost savings, it was said that the AI surveillance has come down. Maybe the board could approve more funding and possibly the total amount of $17,588.24 for our students to continue to represent Gateway so well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments this evening on agenda items? Hey.
Mr. Lassen, would you want to address the new course proposals?
Whenever that is convenient for you folks.
I think this might be the right time. It is. Yeah. Mhm.
How's everybody doing today?
Good
to see you.
evening.
For those of you that don't know me, my name's Eric Lassick, and I'm the music department chair, K-12, and I teach high school chorus since 2001 here at Gateway. We have a proposal that we would like to have considered, which is honors orchestra, honors wind ensemble, and honors chorale for the next school year. The good news is it won't cost a penny. No additional budget is needed, no additional staff is needed. What we have found over the last 10 years or so is we lose some of our top track students who are chasing that valedictorian, salutatorian status because they can't receive honors credit for being in any of the ensembles at the high school. So what we'd like to do is for each of those groups, students can choose whether they want to take it for regular credit or whether they want to take it for honors credit. If they choose to take honors orchestra or honors chorale or honors wind ensemble, there will be additional requirements for them. The plan right now is for each 9 weeks, every student that signs up for honors credit will need to, will need to put on a recital. So they will perform some solo work that will be approved by myself or Mr. Helchi or Mr. Person, or they can do a trio or a quartet or a quintet. It has to be something where each student is responsible for their own part. So there will be nobody singing or performing their own specific part. They'll have to rehearse that and be able to perform it on their own. Whether it's a solo or whether kids work in trio or quartet is all going to depend on the number of kids that would sign up. So what would happen is honors, for instance, chorale, honors chorale and chorale would still be meeting at the same period. That's why we wouldn't need an additional teaching period to offer that. The students that are taking it for regular credit would continue to do what they're doing. The students that take it for the honors credit would have that recital to do. They would have to write a paper about the piece of music that they're performing. And they'd also have to keep a practice journal that each teacher would check on a probably every 2-week basis or so, just to see what they're practicing, how they're practicing, and how they're progressing. I have some other ideas about turning this also into a community outreach thing. I've been doing a lot of research lately on music's effect for people with memory impairment and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So maybe one of the 9 weeks, one of the ideas is we would research a time period for one of the memory impairment units somewhere in Monroeville, find out what the age range is for those people, and then try to pick music to perform for them of their teenage 20s years. Because studies are showing that that has really been, that can really be a help for those students or for those adults with different memory impairments. So that's not solidified yet, but that's sort of the background of where we're at right now. Does anybody have questions about that or any clarifications that I could make for you?
And Eric did an excellent job summarizing this, but it's truly differentiation within a classroom. And for our students at the high school level, once scheduling is complete and Mr. Lassick and the department would clarify and identify which students would be scheduled into the honors, guidance would be informed of the decision. Students would then receive the credits based on completion of the course.
Right, and based on whatever's going to be easier for high school administration and guidance,
Yes.
if that ends up meaning that we do that at the end of this school year, it could even be that we do it at the beginning of next school year, but whatever's going to work, because they'll already be in that class, it'll just be a matter of creating something new on Skyward.
It's just a code with
new
a
code for
number
Skyward.
5 in front of it
Right.
that would indicate it's an honors level course.
So normally I wouldn't come to you at this time of school year because the scheduling process has already started, but I think because of the special circumstances of this, it's something that we can get up and running.
Well, this was also looked at last year, so it's not completely new.
Yes.
Just for some reasons that we discussed, it never made it to
Yes.
approval, but it's definitely a win-win for our district and our students, and completely supported.
Eric, I have a question.
Sure.
Would this also include not just the recital, the performance part of it, but the support part of it? That would be lighting, staging, orchestration, costume design, taping,
Well, since this would just be a recital, there really wouldn't be any type of,
music operation support.
it would be more, we would probably just do it in the dance studio or do it in the band room where it's not like this isn't like a full-blown theatrical production. It's just, a recital is just the kid walks out on stage with his horn, plays his piece, and walks off. So there's really no
Advanced placement capability for advanced engineering of the things that would cause a recital to be
Oh.
more enjoyed by the audience. Those things are very, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So I would suggest you might think about that.
That could be something that we, perhaps in the
There's
future, could look
electrical,
with tech ed.
A lot could go into
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
For sure.
Research, wiring, just a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Media announcements, just everything. Broadcasting it on local cable access stations, sharing it with the Senior Citizen Center, on and on and on. I mean, it's one thing to have students perform well. It's another thing to market that in an intelligent ways. It's very difficult to do.
It is. I agree with that completely.
Mr. Lassick, are we able to add the narrative into the program of studies for the honors level courses that you're identifying? Can we get that in? Because it's the program of studies is online at this point.
I would imagine.
And all we have
Yeah,
to do is
I can't
modify
imagine
it
that
to
that would
include
be
it.
a,
Once it's board approved.
Yes.
If you're able to add in those sections that would list those areas
Yep.
as honors, that would be great.
for sure,
Okay.
for sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Everybody has this in your Exhibit A, and you're not printed out, but online on there.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
We want the kids to come and sing to us too, all right?
I'd be happy, we talked about setting
Yeah, I have some memory issues actually. But I don't think they'd be allowed to sing most of the music I listened to in my teenage years.
Okay, moving on. Section 5, I think we're going to try to postpone for next week, so we'll move to Section B, bills and financial reports. Mr. Schott.
Section B this evening, we have Section B1, list of bills for the month of April 2019. Section B2, monthly financial statements for the month of March 2019. And Section B3, budget transfers for the month of April 2019. Present these items this evening for the board's review.
Anybody have any questions or discussion for Mr. Schott this evening? Seeing none. Section C, we have none. No items previously tabled. Section D, personnel agenda, Mrs. Crump.
Thank you, Mr. Rucci. Presented for your review this evening, there are items 1 through 6 under the personnel agenda. Under resignations, we have 5 names listed, including in those names, we have 2 retirements. One is for Harriet Thomas Parson. He's been with the district for 24 years as a maintenance person. And Dale Mertz has been an autistic support aide at Cleveland Stewart Elementary, and she's been with the district for 12 years. Under leave of absence, we have 4 presented. Transfers, 2 per the collective bargaining agreements. Under employment, we have a student worker. Supplemental contracts, we have 2 resignations, 3 issuance, and the fall sports for the following school year. Under volunteers, we have 7 names listed.
Okay, questions, comments for Mrs. Crump?
One question, Mrs. Crump. Anything, I know I emailed you regarding the staff nurse. Are we looking to replace that position, or what are we doing with the staff nurse?
Currently, while the budget process is going on for the remainder of this year, we are not filling that position and looking at the options that we have available and directions from the board.
Will we be down a nurse if necessary, if needed, since she was
She was the
district-wide?
floating nurse, so we still have 1 nurse for all buildings.
Okay. Thank you.
Section E, conferences and conventions. With that,
Mr. Rucci, for review this evening, we have 2 conferences listed, one for Guy Rossi for the PAFPC Annual Conference, and one for James Pelchy for the PMEA NAFME Eastern Division Conference.
questions, comments? None. Section F, administrative resolutions.
Dr. Rossi?
This will be Yeah, I could take the first section here for secondary. The items for review this evening, we have 1, the final approval of textbooks. The textbooks are listed there. Music department course proposals, 3 course proposals that Mr. Lassick just spoke about. Item number 3, the school threat assessment, school-based training. Item number 4, educational service agreement with the Delphi Education. And item number 5, overnight excursion for Mr. Timmy Guilfoyle for the 2019 PA Junior Classical League.
Number 6, we have the math intervention materials. That's for MTSS cohort stipend from Mosside Middle School, that we'll be able to purchase those materials. Number 7 is a motion to approve the reading intervention materials from the 95% group. Number 8 is approval of the partnership with the Dynamic Learning Project, which will be the Sustained Coaching Program. If you remember, 2 years ago, we were part of the Google DLP partnership. This is the Sustained Partnership. Number 9 is approve the purchase of the Peaceful School Bus Program. This is part of the Title IV program to foster safe, healthy, and supportive school environments. And number 10 is approve the transition MOU with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit for Head Start and the United Way of Southwest PA.
Item number 11 is continued participation in the statewide Microsoft EES program for 5 years, starting in 2019 with an estimated annual cost of $22,000. Item number 12, the acceptance of district donations listed. The first one is from the Flora Foundation, $356.59 check representing matching funds. Recipient Sean McMahon for Robotics Club at Gateway High School. Second donation, Charles A. Cohen, $356.59 check, which is the original donation associated with the matching funds donation, also for Sean McMahon and the Robotics Club at Gateway High School. Next item, donors and items, Coca-Cola, 10 cases of water, Red Robin, 35 backpacks and 20 pounds of non-perishable food. Recipient Jennifer Hoffner for the backpack program at University Park Elementary School. Item number 13, approve the acceptance and expenditure of a $500 kindergarten transition grant received by the district, passed through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit number 3 in partnership with the United Way of Southwest PA for the 18-19 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit H. Item number 14, approve the award of the bids for various types of school supplies bid by the district for the 1920 fiscal year, summarized by category below and is depicted in Exhibit I. Number 15, approve the extension of the rental contract between Mr. John and the district to provide sanitation services at the Gateway Middle School location for the rental of one sanitation unit in a total monthly amount of $135 per sanitation unit during the 2019 calendar year as depicted in Exhibit J. Item number 16, approve the continuation of the Purge service agreement with Stericycle/Shred-It for the secure collection and off-site disposal of district records in estimated quantities and associated container unit prices as indicated in the Purge service agreement for the 1920 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit K. Item number 17, approve the renewal and administrative fee payment in the amount of $19,243.78 for the current Better Unemployment Compensation Comprehensive Program offered directly by the Pennsylvania School Boards Association for stop-loss insurance protection if annual unemployment insurance claims reach the maximum claim stop-loss point of $128,291.89 during the upcoming 1920 fiscal year. That's depicted in Exhibit L. Item number 18, approve the district's purchases and payments for the following department items during the 18-19 fiscal year. That represents from Day Fleet Commercial Sales, 2019 Ford Super Duty F-350 four-wheel drive regular cab truck in the amount of $41,472. Note, the above amount will be further reduced by the trade-in value still be determined, the district's old truck being replaced. Also, associated with district vehicles, Murray Auto, Electric, and Radio Communications, Inc., one Meyer snowplow with mountain harness for a new truck in the amount of $6,000. One salt hopper and spreader, Salt Dog Model 2000 in the amount of $4,300. For Pitt Specialty Supply Incorporated, 2 square scrubber models in the total amount of $5,350. 2 Tenant Nobles auto scrubbers in the amount of $12,380. And for the athletic department purchases, G&G Fitness, Phys Ed Fitness weight room repairs and maintenance and upgrades in a total amount of $74,544.31. Again, total of all these items for this month, $144,046.31. Please note that the above items will be purchased and paid for during the 18-19 fiscal year instead of during the 19-20 fiscal year to reduce expenditures in the 19-20 fiscal year general fund budget. Also, additional purchases are being reviewed and the expectation will be presented for board consideration and approval at the upcoming May board meetings. Item number 19, approve the capital reserve fund budget in a projected amount of $1,504,000, the various capital repair improvement projects contained in the budget, the advertisement of requests for proposals for professional capital-related services as applicable, and the advertisement of bids for capital projects as applicable to be completed during the 1920 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit M. Item number 19, approve the following capital repair project to be completed by the following vendor at the following total amount during the 1920 fiscal year as depicted below, specifically A.G. Mario Company, 20 new doors at Ramsey Elementary School in the amount of $58,000. Item number 21, award the bid for the swimming pool dehumidification system at the Gateway High School Sports Complex to Horanic Sheet Metal in the total bid amount of $340,000 as a capital repair project to be completed during the 18-19 fiscal year. And item number 22, approve the amendment for the continuation of the curtailment services agreement with Energy Curtailment Specialist and Compiero Energy LLC, doing business as Clear Choice Energy, previously dated original agreement December 6, 2012, and NRG Curtailment Solutions Incorporated for electricity demand response program services for the enrollment periods of June 1st, 2019 through May 31st, 2020, also June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2021, and subsequent enrollment periods via the Power Pay Demand Response Program amendment as depicted in Exhibit N. Please note, just as an example, the current Power Pay agreement is that the district is expected to receive a total of $20,010.34 during the current fiscal year.
That's a lot. Anybody have any questions on those items for Mr. Shaw? Go ahead, Mr. Lepsovich.
Thank you. I got a question, Mr. Brown. This 2019 Ford Super F-350, that's pretty heavy duty, and is it the reason we're buying that is because we might have to haul that heavy trailer?
Take the microphone, Mr. Brown.
I know that 7,000 Gateway Campus Boulevard. That is correct. It is a one-ton diesel truck in order to haul the proposed new trailer, which is larger than their last trailer. Our existing vehicles struggle to pull the trailer that we have now. So in order to be able to do that without having anything dangerous or any other problems or ruin a truck, that's why we suggested this vehicle.
So we're buying a $40,000 diesel truck to haul your trailer there.
Our
Mr. Gallagher.
normal cost for a 250 truck is in the neighborhood of $26,000 to $27,000. So there is quite a difference between them, but that's the next usable piece of equipment to do, what's necessary.
Will it be utilized outside of just pulling the trailer?
Yes, it would be used here. Snow plowing is one of the big things, but just in general, it would be replacing.
But the only real need for it to be the 350
is for the trailer. That is the only real purpose.
Is the size of the new trailer necessary, or is that something we can
It
work
is
with?
necessary. Right now, they also rent an additional vehicle to haul their equipment over and above what the trailer is. So,
Reverend, we'll buy the trailer if you split the cost of the truck with us. That sounds like a deal.
Mr. Brown, while you're up there, just one more thing before you sit down. I'm sure someone's going to look at us buying 20 doors for $58,000 and say, you can get those at Home Depot for about $100 a piece. So maybe you could explain why.
well, they're commercial doors. It's not just the door, even though it sounds that way. There is the hardware that goes with it. Electronic lock systems, we're moving into the future, getting away from keyed locks. This way, with a swipe card, you can enter. You leave, go to a different school, different position. In seconds, we change that. We're not worrying about lost keys or any of those problems. They are commercial doors. That is also installed by a union carpenter along with it, only because of the number of it. There would be some construction involved, which we would do in-house, which would be making all the openings the correct size just to expedite it, and I believe that was a savings of $30,000, if I remember correctly. So in order to make all the rooms more secure and private in Ramsey, which most of you, if not all of you, know, they're in a pod layout, which is very noisy and not as secure as we'd like it to be.
Thanks.
Anybody else? No more
Just maybe
questions?
just kind of to hammer on something that Mr. Schott kind of threw in there, but the fact that the above items will be purchased and paid for during this budget. In other words, any of these expenses have zero effect on next year's budget that we're currently looking at and discussing your vastly popular tax proposal.
And part of that was in our effort to try to reexamine the budget for next year and attempt to save money for next year so that we do not have to do the tax increase, which is important to understand that the district is working diligently and our administration to try to reevaluate the budget for next year so that the newspaper article, we can prove them to be false. That's our hope. Right, guys?
Mr. Brown, question. The dehumidifier, the system, does that mean Train will not be here every day once they get that in?
No.
Okay, I just wondered. I just was,
Train was not working on that.
okay,
They were actually repairing our chiller system, which is our air conditioning for the entire high school complex.
Okay.
And sports complex. Two different pieces of equipment.
good. Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Lapsevich.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, did we get more than one estimate on those doors? Was there any other bidders except this company?
We put it out to get approved. They are CoStar's vendor that we've been working with for years, just because there's not a whole lot out there. So we did not go and procure other estimates because of the long-term relationship with that company.
Okay.
But if we can do that.
Mr. Brown, can you explain what CoStars is?
Get to it, Mike.
You gotta give him just like one of those.
I need a Mr. Microphone. CoStars is a purchasing group where the vendors have already bid those products and services to the state. So they've already gone through that bid process versus us reinventing the wheel. The reasoning behind it was to save government entities dollars. The money spent on bidding any service cost us money for all of the advertising and the time that we have to do it. So that is what CoStars is. There's other buying groups out there. Keystone is one of them. U.S. Communities is another. There's a bunch of them out there that different manufacturers go to be able to do this without going to a public bid, where you can purchase the product that you require and you select, not necessarily the lowest bidder, because not everything is created equal. So we pick the product that we want, as long as that has been already bid out on CoStars or another purchasing group.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Brown, I got to keep you up there. We currently have 2 trailers up here, old band.
No.
Old band and old band.
We do have one trailer. We have the existing band trailer that we're using. The old one was sold, I think, 2 years ago. It was not roadworthy.
What are we going to do with the current one?
Well, we would probably pursue the same thing. Last year, when we had it inspected, we had to repair 15 areas of the frame. That's why we knew it would not, be able to be used again this upcoming year. went to Mr. Helchi and explained the situation that the band would have to pursue a new trailer.
Any idea what we're gonna get for the trade-in on the 250?
No, I don't. We didn't know for sure if we were even gonna do that, and that does vary. I'm not sure if Mr. Schott remembers some of the previous ones we've traded in.
I'd say anywhere conservatively from maybe 2,000 to 5,000, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
but, yeah.
so it's an '06, it's the last old dinosaur that we have.
Just wondering if it's the $2,000 trade-in, is it worth keeping it and having, is it still functional to be used around campus? and
Well,
everything?
we keep sinking more and more money into repairs of it just because of the age. And our vehicles don't get a lot of miles, but they're a lot of stop and go.
A lot of idle miles.
Short distances, so we're wearing them out, but that's been around for 12 years. So, we got our use out of it.
Thanks, Mr. Brown.
You can sit down for now.
For a second.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any more questions for Mr. Brown now that he sat down? Okay. Seeing none, let's move to Section G, resolutions presented by board members. Item 1, I'll take resolution supporting statewide cyber charter school funding reform by the Board of Directors of the Gateway School District. Bear with me, it's kind of long. Whereas the Commonwealth is the sole authorizer of cyber charter schools, yet almost all of the costs for cyber charter schools are borne by school districts and local taxpayers, and the current funding formula for cyber charter schools is based on the school district expenditures with no relationship to the actual instructional costs of the students attending the charter school. And whereas the current cyber charter school funding formula for special education differs from the formula used to calculate school district special education subsidies and is not based on the actual costs of the cyber charter school to meet the needs of their students with disabilities, and the current flawed calculation requires school districts to pay charter schools regardless of the cost of services provided, resulting in the overpayment of district funds to charter schools for special education students. And whereas in 2016-17, school districts spent more than $463 million in mandatory cyber charter school tuition payments, and whereas the average total cyber charter school tuition payment made by a district was $926,000, with the average tuition rate for a non-special education student $11,309, and whereas the average tuition rate for special education students attending cyber charter schools was $24,200, with a maximum rate of $48,198 per student, and more than 390 school districts in Pennsylvania were forced to pay more than $20,000 per student for special ed students attending cyber charter schools. Whereas the Gateway School District cyber charter school expenditures for the past 5 years reflect extraordinary costs that were borne by its taxpayers as follows. Paul, do you want to pick up?
Yeah, the actual amounts listed for the fiscal years 2014-15 through the current year, 2018-19, these are all actual numbers spent by the district. Actually, we actually lifted these numbers off our annual financial reports because we're required to break these out for the Pennsylvania Department of Education. So some of the numbers that are being cited in this resolution earlier, they have access to all those numbers and are able to compile that information from the amounts reported. But again, even the 18-19, as we brought up the other night at our Budget and Finance Committee meeting, currently there's Senate Bill 34 and House Bill 526 that are pending, that depending on where they go and what form they might ultimately receive, is that, and we're hopeful that we get some movement on there because we could have some significant potential savings out there. So what would happen in theory is that if they would pass it as proposed, that the district would no longer have to pay for any resident students attending a cyber charter school for that. Those students currently attending, which we currently have 77 students attending cyber charter schools, they would have some options. They would either be able to enroll in Gateway as a student. They could potentially, what we would hope for is enroll in Gateway's cyber school, or they could potentially go to a brick and mortar school. So in theory, those 77 kids currently we're paying $1,333,960. So assuming a best-case scenario situation that all 77 say they would either decide to go to our cyber program, when you take the cost of what those students would be, we would be looking at potential savings of $949,000. But again, it's not practical that we would capture all 77. But in theory, you could potentially do that. But there definitely is savings out there available if this could go through. Unfortunately, we've seen efforts before by the legislature. We've heard rumblings of maybe trying to either set two-tier rates for brick and mortar charter schools, cyber charter schools. We've never seen anything develop at this particular point in time. I think though there is a lot more discussion in Harrisburg. When people are seeing these numbers behind it, there's some real big numbers behind this.
It's alarming.
It is very alarming. And just to let everyone know, I mean, currently, our non-special education student tuition rate for the 18-19 fiscal year is $14,289.09. Our special education student tuition rate is $35,534.57. So what's also wrong with the whole charter, cyber charter, is that there are 500 different rates across the Commonwealth for non-special education students, and there are 500 different rates across the Commonwealth for special education students that vary widely. And you know darn well, particularly for a cyber, they don't have the same overhead costs as a brick and mortar charter school.
And that's what this bill is addressing.
Exactly.
And for the public to understand that the various commercials, billboards that you see out there advertising PA Cyber Charter School, Agora Cyber Charter School, and they have a little line underneath, free tuition. That is not
It's not free.
accurate.
You're paying for that.
Correct.
We're all paying for that.
At various amounts.
Yes.
So we're doing everything we can do.
Yeah, with this
to push
resolution,
through.
we're signing as a board that we are urging our legislators to pass reform. There was an independent study done recently that I read that recommended the legislature go to flat $5,000 as a cyber charter. That's under consideration, but.
That would help too.
You know, if the public wants to do anything, the best thing that they could do is also contact their state representative and their state senator, which is probably Jim Brewster and Brandon Markosik, and also urge them to look at cyber charter reform, because ultimately it helps the taxpayers of our community. So, anything else?
We could reach out to Mr. Markosik and have conversations. Dr. Chaky, perhaps we can give him a phone call? Okay.
Mrs. Cerucci, I'm going to go out on behalf of the school board to the PSBA at the end of the month for their advocacy day, and this is one of the three main topics that we're going to be knocking on the legislators' doors, and this resolution that was created by the PSBA, we're going to say, we think this is a good idea.
The other issue that you can address is transportation costs, which Bonnie and I can share with you details later, had extensive ideas on cost-saving measures for transportation as well.
Thank you.
All right, should we move on to item 2?
Yes.
I'll take that one. Yes, it's the approval to assist with the purchase, Gateway Band Boosters new band trailer during the 2018-19 fiscal year. Approve the district's assistance with the Gateway Band Boosters purchase of a new band trailer and support in the amount of $8,794.12, or 50% support of the total cost of the new band trailer, which is the total cost of $17,588.24 during the 18-19 fiscal school year as depicted in Exhibit O. I want to put my 2 cents in here on that. I had talked to Mr. Helchi, and I would personally like to do the whole trailer, but he's happy to get whatever we can. Miko, not yet. Not yet, Miko. Thank you. I put that in there. He's happy to get whatever he can. If the board would see to be able to do the whole amount, the band really shows off Gateway wherever they go, in any of the parades and any of their competitions. They're always there with everything they do. So my resolution is actually to do the whole band trailer, but as it's written, it's only 50%. So if we could change it, if the board sees fit.
It's not an
That's
action
fine.
item, so we have another week to mull it over and think about it. Mr. Lovsovich?
Yeah, maybe this is the first time I'm gonna disagreed without warning.
Wait, stop the presses.
We were fair as a board with anybody who came along the pike who needed help. I don't care who they were, hockey,
Robotics.
across the whole 9 yards. But these organizations didn't have any any money in their treasury. But I understand like the band boosters have like 15, 16,000 in their fund balance. And my personal belief, I can't see paying for the trailer.
And the truck.
And the
That
truck,
basically
we're paying an
makes it
extra
50,000
$12,000 for a truck. So, I mean, that's my opinion. It might get me shot, but that's my opinion.
Mr. Vogel?
Well, you know, I've never disagreed with Mr. Lapsovich before, but who said that? But using the argument that because they have a fund balance, they should spend it on something would be like us saying, we have a fund balance and we should be spending it too, which we certainly don't say because having a fund balance is a useful thing for emergencies. So we have a week to think about it, but for me, that in and of itself is not a compelling argument, but that's just for me. They worked hard, obviously, to create a fund balance, just as this school district did. But once you pay it, my experience with money is it's gone.
And that fund balance might be earmarked for something already.
So I appreciate that thought. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Mr. Lapsovich, we can always agree to disagree, but we're good.
My 2 cents is that, we can't make emotional decisions. We have to look at the finances, we have to look at the budgets, and we have to look at the expenditures that are before us and try to make the best decision. And we'll look at that over the next week, and if anybody has any questions, they can talk to the business manager, and they can talk to the band director, the band boosters president, and we'll bring it to vote next week.
Thank you.
All right. Comments from residents on non-agenda items. Mr. Houston, welcome.
Thank you. Moving slow, don't make fun of me. Good evening. Kenneth Houston, 108 Edgemead Drive, here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, NAACP Allegheny East. 3 things real quick. The first thing is I want to thank Dr. Short and Dr. Shaky for the wonderful meeting that we had talking about the district and the achievements that's being done in this district. I wish the whole community could have been in that meeting. It was absolutely positive and very refreshing to hear some good news. Dr. Short gave me a very comprehensive presentation, and I really commend him for it.
And just to follow up, we will be presenting
I wasn't going to tell the
information
goods.
next Tuesday at the conclusion of a committee meeting at 6 or 6:30? 6:30. Next Tuesday prior to the board meeting. It's a comprehensive plan of how we operate.
It's excellent. It really was, and I hope the whole community comes and hears it or tunes in to hear it, what Gateway School District is doing and accomplishing with its students. I truly commend you.
Thank you.
Your leadership, and Dr. Shaky, your leadership of what you gentlemen are doing. I had the opportunity to brag a little bit in Harrisburg on Saturday, so I'm still coming off the clouds. The other thing is I want to, it's my pleasure to announce that the NAACP has secured $2,500 to support the Black Student Union in their events that they want to do, both closing out the school year and hopefully will help them do some things in the summertime. We will, and our 11 executive members voted to keep the district and give you a comprehensive report of what we do with them and with those funds. We felt that it's important to be transparent with the school district as to how we're supporting them in their programs and what they want to do. The board absolutely felt it was necessary that we show strong collaboration with the school district as well as the students in some of the things that they want to achieve and accomplish. As you all may or may not know, you guys are way ahead of the game in reference to the issues of black student unions. There's a district now that's actually getting ready to get into a very heated legal fight with the ACLU relevant to a black student union. I recommend that the superintendent gives Dr. Short a call, and hopefully they can dialogue in how it can pan out to be a good thing. So you guys are ahead of the curve on this issue, and it's spreading. Now I got a call today, 2 more districts are attempting to address that very issue. So you guys should really be commended on the fact that you got ahead of the game and you allowed your students to have a black student union here. And I must say that your black student union group and organization is very impressive. The leadership, the young men and women that I've met with are just awesome. So kudos to Gateway again. I should wear my Gateway shirt, huh? I should have on my Gateway.
I've reached out to the advisor, Mr. Spinola, and he will have members of the Black Student Union, I'm sure some of the students you talked to, here next Tuesday at the opening of our board meeting, just to provide an overview of what's been going on.
Excellent. They're very good, very, very good kids, and I'm extremely proud of them. And hopefully this will continue in a positive way for all the students here at Gateway. The other thing is, in reference to charters, the NAACP does not support charter schools. We, from a state level and a national level, feel that charter schools are not given the same scrutiny as public schools. And actually, the national NAACP is taking a serious look at charter schools and the achievement of their students particularly, because the students that they feel are discipline issues, we're finding out they're filtering them back into the public schools for your teachers and staff to deal with, which I think is extremely unfair. So we're very, very aggressively, and particularly in Pennsylvania, we're very, very aggressively looking at the charter school situation. They've fallen under the radar pretty good for a long, long, long time. And now it's the chicken's coming home to roost. So know that the NAACP does support anything that we can do to help you all to address that issue in Harrisburg. We would be happy to get a letter in support of that very, very issue, because it's not some of these charter schools, and I'm not naming no names, but they're getting away with a whole lot when it comes to the student achievement. And these figures are staggering. So I'm going to steal some of your stuff if you don't mind. Give me some good talking points, and it'll make people think I'm real intelligent. So, but no, we do. We definitely support you in that. Thank you again very much for that presentation, Dr. Shaky and Dr. Short. I truly appreciate it, and I do appreciate everything that you all are doing to support your minority population of your students. I think they're very grateful to it. We had a little rocky road there for a minute, but we plowed right through it without an incident. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Houston.
Thank you.
Anybody else that'd like to address the board? No? Okay, we'll move on to reports. Dr. Short, would you like to go first?
Real quick, I'd just like to thank Reverend Gallagher and Reverend Morse for inviting me to the Unity Ministerium event Sunday evening, 5 o'clock. Board Director Mrs. Warning was present for that as well. I had an opportunity to address what looked to be 75 or 100 individuals, and I truly enjoyed that opportunity. And speaking of the Gateway School District and the efforts made by truly all of us here, to enhance the district and recognize equity and unity within our school district. So thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks. That's all.
Mrs. Bungart. Dr. Chakey.
Nothing. Thanks.
Dr. Rossi.
Just as Dr. Short alluded, we're going to have a curriculum update on Tuesday, next meeting, Tuesday at 6:30.
Tuesday at 6:30. Mr. Shaw.
Just one item, just to let everyone know that our next Budget and Finance Committee meeting is going to be held on Thursday, May 2nd at 6 o'clock at the Gateway High School LGI. Again, Thursday, May 2nd at 6 o'clock in the Gateway High School LGI. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Crump.
Nothing at this time.
Not hiring anybody?
With the current budget deficit, as we said, we're going to wait until May 2nd.
I always have to ask.
I know, thank you.
Mr. Ritter.
Sure, three things. The Allegheny Intermediate Unit 3 held their Board of Directors meeting a few days ago on April 4th. I attended that and helped to vote in some new board members for the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. We're also having the PSB Advocacy Day in Harrisburg towards the end of this month. I'm going to go out there and advocate for the school districts and the kids. Number 3, when Paul Schott did a really nice job at the recent Budget and Finance Committee meeting. I was wondering whether it was going to be broadcast on the Gateway's website or the YouTube channel or the local cable access station. It's been at least 22 days and we haven't had any broadcast. So if somebody could look into that, I think it's worth seeing and seeing again and again because it's so densely packed.
It is on the website under the Business Finance tab.
The video?
The slideshow. You can view this.
Mr. Brown, Micah?
The video should be on YouTube.
Which,
The budget meeting.
thank you. It is on.
I think it's not. I'll check.
Can you access the link through the Gateway site?
Yes.
What page?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it might not be listed with all the other school board meetings, if those are regular meetings, but you go to our YouTube channel, it'll be.
I'll check. Thank you.
So go to Gateway's YouTube channel.
All right, so how could the people in, who don't have internet access, like my mom, who watches Channel 13 all the time, get answers to the question about the finances for Gateway? I think it would be easier to post it on the local cable access station. I think it would be better. That's my recommendation.
Mr. Brown, are we able to do that?
I'm guessing there's some issues. What's the issue
wanna
with the
take the microphone, Mr.
local cable channel?
Come on, John, they can go to the podium.
Last I saw it was broadcasting.
No, it hasn't been broadcast for the last 22 days. I've been checking each day. It's been down. There are bars there.
Yeah.
And there's a bar that says, waiting for media. So it hasn't been running.
Okay. I'll have to check. When we were setting up for the budget meeting, I checked that. I did reboot that computer that night just to make sure everything was okay. And it appeared we were airing that night. So I'll check again to see if anything happened since then.
It would be good, I think.
John, just so you know, I'm currently watching it on YouTube. So it is actually on.
Thank you. It would be good to have a person check on the local cable access station every day and create a log file so that we would know.
Okay.
Okay.
I can work on the, with the teacher who's in the studio in the morning for morning announcements. One of their kids could check to make sure the computer's on and we're set to broadcast.
All right, so Rick, thank you for doing that. That solves half the problem. People who do have access to the internet and who understand how to navigate to the bottom of the front page of Gateway's website, go out to the YouTube channel and find it because they only have 2 or 3 of the most recent ones out there. So it will float off the top of the list quite soon. It's not, I think it's not good enough. There's no history there of the YouTube. They only keep the most recent 2 or 3. So what I'm saying is, I think we could easily do better. This is not hard. It's a batch file. So
Okay.
let's
Was there,
just do
you
it.
said 3 things. Was there something else?
That was it.
That was it?
AIU, PSBA, and broadcast of
Broadcast.
Paul Schott's wonderful,
you.
wonderful informational session.
Thank you, Mr.
All right. Mrs. Warning, you're up.
Yes. Micah, you could have stayed there, but just a couple updates. Micah Brown, not yet Micah, he's been talking with Mr. Chopra, the person from CMU with the Cognostic. We had originally quoted, they had originally quoted $65,000 for this trial period that we're going to do. But talking with him and about our cameras and everything else, the figure has been brought down to $38,000. So we're just not always spending money. We do have people that are working to cut costs everywhere. So because of everything that Micah has been doing, working with them, it's possible it could go down further, but right now there has been a significant decrease in the price. Also, a couple years ago, we had, they wanted to do some updates to Gateway, and we were looking at different vendors, whoever to come in to do it. One of our board members had suggested that we do it in-house. And by doing that, Mr. Brown, do you want to go up to the podium and explain? We had, I could just say, we had the new lighting and everything that we put up through the district. There were a lot of rebates that were available. And if we would have gone with a company, we may not have seen that, but going with a company, well, with our own people, Mr. Brown was able to receive rebates going to Mr. Schott probably about $102,000. So,
Most definitely.
so, I mean, it's just that the money that we are putting out, there are things that are coming back, so.
Yeah, those dollars that Mrs. Warning are speaking about were directly related to Duquesne Light's Watt Choice program. We were able to work with them and get rebates on our purchases of the LED lighting that we had done 5 schools with. So by doing that, we were able to recoup approximately 13% of our investment on rebates. And that doesn't even include any of the utility savings that, we're going to get forever. So it was great to see that kind of money come back.
But I just wanted to let people know that you guys are working for the district. I mean, to help out.
I got a question for Mr. Brown, too.
Okay, can we move along?
Oh,
Or is there more?
Mr. Brown, since the LED's been installed like 2 years now,
A little over a
how
year.
much are we saving per month?
That, we had to wait for a bit to get the entire project done, so I don't have that number. Because we had to wait for everything to get done. It took us a while to get all that finished, so I don't have that exact number.
Okay,
You know,
thank you.
we know they're a lot less, but I can't give you
Okay.
that number.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, another thing, we're in the process now of also thinking what we're going to do for Gateway Middle School, rather Chromebooks, iPads, but just a little bit of information. The iPads that we have over at Mosside Middle, we had a couple of them that disappeared. And we have a software program that our tech department uses. And with the iPads, they are able to bing the iPad that's missing, and they were able to track down to the exact home address where the computer was disappeared to. And they're not supposed to be taken out of the schools, but so that's another little thing. If we do get Chromebooks, there's no way that we could track down if anybody does walk out of this district, out of the schools with them. But this is just showing everything that they're doing to make sure that we have knowledge of where our equipment is. The Quasics, they were up at Cal U. They did an awesome job. They were on local station that we could watch, and it was very different. Talking even to Sean McMahon, he said there were things that they really weren't expecting, that there were new things that were happening all the time. So they didn't come out first place as usual, but they did fare well. So applause to you guys. Dr. Short, like I said, you did an excellent job speaking. It's a little bit apprehensive, but did very well. Always comes out. The Lady Gators softball team, they are selling hoagies. And if anybody's interested, contact the softball team or the athletic office. They will be able to give you more information. It's a way of helping their booster organization, too, to get things that they want. UP had a talent show last Friday. The talent that these kids show at such a young age is amazing. They had kids up there doing the hula hoop, and we just saw my days way back when You just went like once. They had it coming off their hands, off their feet. It was just unbelievable. So kudos to them for all the practicing, the singing, the acting, everything they did. It was a very well put on program. Our play this year, Once Upon an Island, it will be starting the end of this month. Check our website for the days and times. As always, our music department, all our students put on such a fantastic production. PSSAs, they're starting next week. Teachers, relax. You taught your students well. Students, make sure you get enough rest. So I wish you guys all the best of luck. April 22nd. It's not the installation of the scoreboard, but we will be starting to put it up. So it's a new stage that's going on, so it will be ready for graduation at the end of the month of May. Okay, last week was kind of busy. The pilot program that we started up at University Park with the backpacks, there were just some pictures. When you see the kids, which it's very hard to even imagine going home on a Friday with nothing to look forward to eating on the weekend. The little bit that they did. This was one of the sharpened carts that I was at Aldi's. They asked me why I liked peanut butter. But it was just, the kids were so excited. They didn't even want to take a backpack. They just wanted to take the food that they were going to get. And it's just very, very hard to imagine. 68 kids were able to take home backpacks. All but 8 brought their backpacks back. They're already filled for this Friday to go home. This is just the assembly line. We had so much help from University Park staff. Thanks to Mr. Whalen for sending down 5 high school students to help with it. As you can see, this is everything that's been donated, whether through gift cards. Thank you, Mr. Lapsevich, for going to Coca-Cola, picking up the water that you saw was in his truck. It was amazing. These are just people that were helping. Kudos goes out to Ms. Hoffner, to Ms. Montgomery, and to Mr. Smith for organizing this. It takes a group of people to put something together, and there's our Joy Bailey. She was there assisting. But just knowing that these kids are going home and able to have something on the weekends. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has donated. And the program is continuing. We're still getting more excitement from the churches in the area. And there's been boxes that put out from this backpack program to all the schools and to different churches in this area. So thank you to everyone for that. That's our high school students that came down to help. Okay, Micah. Okay, yesterday,
Your 10 minutes is up.
we don't have 10 minutes. We have unlimited. Yesterday, we had a basketball game. Gateway students, Gateway boys basketball, girls basketball, had a basketball game with Sunrise students. You laughed, you cried. These students were so excited to see Gateway's players and cheerleaders. They did everything in their power. It was unbelievable. As Micah goes through the slideshow, Mr. Avesti was the coach, and our players were in the white jerseys. The girls were there. The girls were so excited. They come over and they just tugged on my shirt and said, "Can they do those things down the court?" And we had several of the girls that did their cartwheels and their backflips, and they just were so excited, standing up with their pom-poms. Mr. Avesti told the kids, let's not go too heavy on the scores, give them some time, make baskets. Little did we know that Sunrise team had a good team. They beat the Gators 75-55. And it's on the front page of our webpage. They were so excited. It was just, Micah, got any other pictures to show? Okay, that's it. It was just something that you just can't explain to see these kids. How our players and cheerleaders, when they come out for a game, they line up. Their cheerleaders did that. And it's something you had to see. It's just so heartwarming, overwhelming, and the kids come up and ask our players, Could you be my best friend? Can you come back and show us some more? It was just such an impact on both students. So I thank our athletic department, Dr. Short, everybody, Mr. Brown letting us use the van to get the kids over there and just putting that together. Okay, that's enough with the emotional thing. A couple more things. Gateway was recently awarded a Safe Sports School Award. We will be getting that award shortly. Also, my condolences to Dawn Nicolazzi and her brother Tony on the loss of their father recently. And just a personal input. Two very special people in my life are going to be going through some very tough times. Mr. Lapsovich's wife and my brother. And I just ask in your prayers that you keep them in your prayers. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Warning. Mr. Lapsovich? Let me come back to you.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Bobo?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say anything, but Val pointed out that the iPads can be located. So, Michael, if you could find mine, I'd appreciate that. I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do about that. So, and one other thing, I want to thank Dr. Short for not throwing me under the proverbial bus. I met with the leaders of the Black Student Union, and I thought I invited them tonight, which is why they're on the agenda. It's completely my fault. We spoke to everybody except them. I told them, gave them the opportunity to be here. They accepted that, and we're waiting to hear when the meeting was. So this is like a little tease for everyone. You know, you came here tonight to see them. You're going to have to wait a week. They are brilliant. They are worth seeing, and they will give you hope, I believe, for the future, how we're all going to figure out how to live together. So tune in next week, or John, bring your mom here, for crying out loud.
I try.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to bring your mom to the budget meeting. Tell her I'll pick her up, so we can solve that problem too. So
It was actually planned this way, because now you gave a great commercial.
there you go. That's a nice little tease. So please stay tuned next week. They are worth seeing. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Do you have anything, Mr. Dice?
I don't.
Okay, just checking. You know,
It's
you
fine.
always get an
I'm
opportunity.
responding.
Mr. McIntyre?
Yeah, just hopefully quickly here. Obviously, since the Budget and Finance Committee meeting and the strongly recommended tax increase coming from our trusted business manager, Mr. Schott, there's obviously a lot of talk around the community, apparently a lot of things on social media. I was kind of expecting from that a large army of people here tonight. And then, just believe it or not, Ken, I was pleased to just see Mr. Houston in the crowd. Oh, yeah. But for those of you that, you know, are maybe watching tonight or going to watch this later and are concerned about an increase in taxes, nobody on this board takes that kind of thing lightly. There's nobody on this board that wants to just frivolously take your money and just throw it away. All right, but I think Mr. Schott lays out very clearly that our revenues continue to go down and our base expenses, without adding anything else on, without any kind of irresponsible spending, continues to grow. I think the movements we're trying to make with the cyber charter is a positive thing. I think that goes a long way to reducing the need for a tax increase in the future. I think another potential big not windfall for us, but money saving for us that would alleviate at least a portion of the needed tax raise, if we find that it's needed, is the MS4 fee that's being assessed right now that we've already actually paid into as a school district. And in a second, I'm going to have Mr. Dice read language from the state code. So this is actual state law. And when he reads this, I think it's blatantly clear that legally we are not allowed to be assessed this money. So once he reads this, for those of you at home that are angry and want to show up and yell at us about a tax increase, I recommend you also contact your local council person and ask them to just walk away from this, because the state law is pretty clear. And if we are assessed this money, that's in addition to our already increasing costs. So that would in turn necessitate a tax increase on the people who are also already being, charged the fee for this MS4. And I understand that it's a necessary thing. Nobody's crazy about it. But again, I think once you hear the language of the law, I think it's pretty clear.
Is that his cue?
That is his cue. Bruce?
Yes. We filed an action, what's called a declaratory judgment action. This is the action here, seeking the court's intervention on this question of payment for MS4. Let me read to you from paragraph 19 of the complaint. Section 7-776 of the Pennsylvania School Code provides for all school property owned by a school district shall be exempt from every kind of state, county, city, borough, or other tax, as well as costs or expenses for paving, curbing, sidewalks, in italics, sewers, and other municipal improvements. That's a quote from the statute that indicates that you're exempt from this type of improvement or sewer fee, if you want to call it a sewer fee. There's also a case that we cite that's already come down on this question, and we set that forth in the complaint. The exposure here is almost $100,000, so it's something that you certainly want to make an issue of. I think that it's fairly clear under the law that the school district is exempt, and you have 11 properties that are affected by this. So you also have Forbes that's in Monroeville, and they're affected. Sunrise is affected, so there are other schools that are joining in this action, and hopefully this won't take too long to be decided. We've kind of fast-tracked it, so we'll see.
Thank you, Mr. Dice.
Thank you, Bruce.
Anything
So
else?
again, if you agree with us that that's pretty clear, call your council person, be polite, and discuss the issue. So that's all for me.
Mr. Bowman.
Nothing at this time.
You want to talk about your shirt?
Mr. Williams.
Nothing this evening.
Dr. Kalkstein.
Nothing further, thanks.
Why?
Nothing to thank you.
Okay, I don't really have anything either. Just to reiterate what Rick said briefly is that all of us up here, I think it's safe for me to say, think raising taxes is a last resort. It's not our first option. And after the initial budget meeting, which was an initial budget meeting with many more to follow and many more budgets to review, we had multiple conversations and directives to sharpen your pencil because it's not really something that any of us really want to do. So I can't predict the future, but I can promise you that all of us will do the best we can to manage your money and keep our district sound, to keep it moving forward, and also protect your tax dollars and use them wisely. So I would encourage you to keep following the business meetings as we, the budget meetings as we progress, and also to know that we have a lot of unknowns that could go our way, and we're hopeful. We have a lot of irons in the fire, so we're going to keep pushing forward, and that's all I have. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.